Hi guys, it's Ken Maxfield, otherwise known as the Hide Guy. I am the owner and editor-in-chief of the Maxfield Report, and this is our market recap for the week ending October 23rd. Last week started very similar to the past few weeks in the big Packer trade, where Packers came into the week with a number of hides offered. In fact, many people would claim that several of the Packers have full complement of selections offered. Many of those items offered for prompt shipment. Load counts, take your pick. I don't want to say astronomical, but Packers could put, for example, 12 to 18 loads on their list and easily have double that to sell. They're, of course, not going to advertise how many loads they want to sell in situations like that. As far as asking prices last week, for the most part, many of the Packers lowered prices $2 to $3 across the board, but many people in the trade were quick to point out that trading levels the week before were even lower than what they had lowered their prices to. It's just one of those markets that happens all the time. But, of course, Packers are reluctant to lower their prices much more than that at any given time, under the opinion that it's just going to encourage buyers to lower their price ideas even more than that. So as far as interest last week, it was a bit of a mixed bag. We've encountered a handful of people said they really didn't have a whole lot, but then we talked to others who said they had a substantial amount of interest, albeit that some of these price ideas coming in for buyers were well below the asking price of the Packers. On the surface, Packers were trying to minimize any kind of discount they're going to take to the week prior, trying to counter at levels $1, $2 lower than ask. But then at the end of the day, there was also a number of rumors or accusations of Packers approaching some of their favorite customers with special offers. And of course, when that tends to happen, the volumes attached are pretty substantial. And if they're going to take that kind of pricing, Packers are going to sell volume at those levels. So end of the day, I do get the feel that there's a fair number of hides sold. A lot of people are saying they sold at least a week's worth of production, maybe even more than a week's worth, which is great. They needed to. The problem is they haven't been selling a week's worth of production the weeks leading up to this. So even though they may have had a good week of sales, I still think there's plenty of hides for sale this week. Trading levels, we're going to call them on the surface, $2 to $3 lower than the last traded levels, although there's a number of people who would insist that Packers are trading at levels even lower than what they're reporting. So, take that for what it is. On the cow hides, overall, producers appears that they're in pretty decent, I shouldn't say that, they're in decent shape, better than where the Packers are. They have enjoyed some decent sales here over the course of the second half of September, early part of October. That's allowed them to, not have to take some of the decrease in prices that some of the big Packers have taken. This past week, offer lists were pretty much same as the week prior. Asking prices steady to maybe 50 cents to $1 off. Of course, week started with some buyers on the cows thinking they're going to bid as, aggressively lower like they're doing in the big Packer trade, that, hey, they've got to have to sell hides too. But producers kind of fought them off best that they could. There are rumors accusing one of the larger producers of selling some hides at substantially lower levels. But I think as a group, producers sold a fair number of hides last week. Not saying they sold a week's worth of production. But again, that cow kill, that's something we'll talk about too when we talk about the harvest, is running pretty high. But I don't think, again, there was a week's worth of production sold, but prices were within 50 cents to $1 of the week prior. So folks in the cowhide side of it are enjoying it maybe a little bit better time of things as far as, the declines in prices and what have you. As far as, we'll talk about the knock. The knock came in at 661,000. That's 15,000 better than the week prior at 646. And it's 16,000 head higher than the same week last year at 645. That number did include 147,000 cows and bulls. That is the second largest week of the year. That's about 13,000 higher than the week prior. So they continue to kill a large number of cows and bulls. percentages are about 22%. And, that's going to come back probably and weigh a little bit on that hide market, because we usually don't see that many cow hides at this time of year. And with the substantial declines we're seeing in the big packer market, those selling cow hides might be in for a little bit of tough sledding coming up here. So let's look at the export report. Much improved over the week before. Wet salted sales at 415,000. That's about 150,000 better than the week prior. Shipments at 472. That's about 160,000 better than the week prior. Wet blue sales at 150. It's nearly 100 grand better than the week before. And wet blue shipments at 227 is nearly double of shipments the week prior. So long story short of it, combined sales at 566. It's still not quite the 640, 650, 660 that we're killing, but a decent number sold. The number that's, you want to look at, 700,000 combined hides shipped. That is the fourth largest week of the year. That number's like oxygen to the packers. I mean, they have not been able to ship hides as freely as they wanted to, although we have shipped as many hides as last year. It's taken more effort to get the hides moved. It's cost more money, and that's why you continue to hear people complain about shipments, that they're not moving as rapidly as they would like. And of course, the situation at the port is not getting any better. In fact, you're all watching it on your respective television networks. It's just deteriorating, further ships stacked up, and it's utterly a mess. So going around the globe real quick, our friends in Europe, they're reporting they're starting to see similar situations as the big packer market. The chip shortage has got a lot of the automotive tanners running at very reduced soaking levels. That's got bull hides in dire straits. They're struggling to get all the bulls liquidated. A lot of those bulls went fresh. Now they're having to salt bulls and approach people who aren't traditional bull buyers. I am hearing that some of the lighter weight ox heifers are doing okay. They're not taking some of the price declines as we're seeing on the bulls, but there's experiencing the same thing we are in the States. There's just not enough demand for the number of hides being produced, and in Europe, the harvest actually starts to increase in the fourth quarter. So they've got more hides coming at them than they had. And that just makes the degree of difficulty of selling that much more difficult. In Brazil, prices are softening. Prices of fresh hides have drifted off by about 2-3 cents a kilo since the last week. Prices of wet blue are off about a nickel a hide or so, according to the people we're speaking to. Sales of TR2, TR3s the last 2-3 weeks have gone to heck in a handbasket. Just not enough sales of that material, and people who produce these lower grades are starting to see inventory stack up there. In Australia, even though the harvest levels continue to run well below levels of a year ago, that's due to the lockdown because of COVID. Also because of live cattle prices are just, unlike here in the States, they're at near record levels. Packers aren't making any money, so they're just not pushing as many animals through the facilities. That said, producers and sellers of cattle hides are struggling to hold prices steady. We had some substantial reductions since our last report, because we didn't do one last week because of the Leather and Hide Council of America meetings in Chicago. But prices in Australia off about, from our last levels, anywhere from $3 to $4. Some selections even more than that. So the whole global market's feeling the negative undertone of this market. So as far as what's going to happen next week, guys, that I encourage you to check into the website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. I offer free sample reports. Scroll down, hit that button. Happy to send you a couple of examples of what I'm doing. That way you can see how I can share with you the things that I know. And if you're getting reports from other people, you're going to be amazed at what I can bring to you that you're not getting from them. So give it a shot. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Until next week, we'll see you again.